The haters always say, Tonya, tell the truth. There's no such thing as truth. Everyone has their own truth.
It is a clip from I, Tonya, a new movie starring Margot Robbie as the Portland-born Tonya Harding. It opens next weekend, tells the story of the 1994 attack on Nancy Kerrigan. Her ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly, later became Jeff Stone, convicted in the attack. Harding pled guilty to hindering the investigation, and in a plea deal, she agreed to a lifetime ban on competitive skating.
And one of the interesting twists of this local story, if you will, was the fact that it was a local reporter at the time at Coin TV that was credited with breaking wide open the investigation into the Kerrigan attack. Ann Schatz is here this morning, and she tells us her work began with a letter that actually arrived at the television station.
Well, it was such a strange deal, guys. I mean, I just show up for work as a sports reporter, anchor for Coin TV, and this letter's on my desk. And it was a to whom it may concern letter. It was one legal pad piece of paper, and on the top bar of the paper were names and numbers. And then the body of the letter referenced these names and numbers throughout. Number 1, I don't remember exactly how it went. Number 1, Tonya. Number 2, Nancy. Number 3, Jeff. Number 4, Eckhart. Number 5, it went like that. So then in the body of the letter, to whom it may concern, number 1 met with number 3, who said number 8, did number, I mean, it was nuts.
Oh my goodness.
It was crazy. So you took about 15 minutes to literally connect the dots, and then you realize Tonya is absolutely implicated through her husband and the guys at this meeting. It happened at somebody's house. It was anonymous. I don't have any idea where it came from.
To this day, do you know the author of the letter?
No. There's been a lot of supposition. Folks have thrown out, it's got to be this guy, friend of the family, et cetera, et cetera. Bottom line, it really didn't matter, but it absolutely brought to light how Gillooly, the henchman in all of this, and then, you know, just through the filter of it all, how Tonya was involved.
And you took that letter and you called Tonya.
Took the letter, and you know, back in that day, all the sports broadcasters who were, you know, not friends with Tonya, but we had professional relationships with Tonya. So she would say, hey, if you need something, give me a call. If you want to do a story, give me a call. Okay, so I had her number and gave her a growl and said, hey, I've got this letter that you're really going to want to look at. This is serious stuff that implicates you, your husband, and a lot of your cohorts. She said, would you please fax it to me? I said, no, I won't. You need to come down to the station. I'll give you a copy of the letter, but you have to do an interview with me. And that's when she sat down with Gillooly glaring at her throughout the entire interview. There's no question in my mind that the questions and answers were rehearsed ahead of time. They asked me not to talk about the attack. Of course I'm going to ask her.
Right.
Sure,
so
right.
At some point, after we had gotten through some of it, I said, did you have anything to do with the attack on Nancy Kerrigan? And she said, absolutely not. We will do whatever we can to help the authorities.
So one question, with this movie coming out, this has been, what, going back to the 1994 games? I'm curious.
Good Lord.
Do you have interest in seeing the movie?
Absolutely.
And seeing the story play out again?
I do, because I think it's going to be a really interesting portrayal of Tonya. It's a very dark comedy. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a really tough watch.
The description says it explores her childhood,
Yes.
which we know was rough.
Yep.
As far as what she's doing today, do you hear news of her?
No, and I think that's how Tonya wants
The
it.
haters.
She finally found, it would appear, a man in her life. She's happy. She's got a child. What she has said and what she hangs her hat on more than anything else is, I want to be a good mom. And the horrific childhood that she went through, I think Tonya is going to be a really good mom.
And I want to share this. I think we have it. It's a picture of actually my daughter. So my family life revolves around my daughter going to the ice rink and figure skating.
Okay.
And it just so goes, she takes lessons. Her primary coach is Dodie Teachman, who was one of the primary coaches of Tonya when Tonya was rising up into the Olympic fame. This was taken at Mountain View Ice Rink up in Vancouver just several weeks back. Tonya was there, and I will say, that Tonya has been nothing but absolutely pleasant and wonderful to the young girls at the ice rink, taking lessons, encouraging them, taking photos, cheering them on, and you know, for them, they're looking at somebody that rose to the Olympic level, and that's a blessing at the ice rink right now.
A two-time Olympian she was, and as you alluded to, if you were to sit down with Tonya today, without Jeff Gillooly, Jeff Stone, watching over her, you'd probably get a much different picture.
I think you'd get a picture that would reveal more of the fear and the burden of her relationship, how she led with that, how that took over who she was, how she was. I really believe that. Skating was such an integral escape for her. It gave her freedom away from everything. Dodie Teachman, Diane Rawlinson were absolutely huge in keeping her safe on the ice, her coaches. Talking to her now, if she were to open up that childhood and as she was growing up and some of the people she associated with, I think the tragic story would continue.
And we should mention, you know, as you read about the movie, Tonya very much in support of the portrayal of her character in the movie.
Isn't that interesting?
It'll be interesting to see when it opens next week. Also want to mention that you're now working for the Pac-12 network.
Oh, thank you.
Because I know viewers will say, Ann Schatz, I love her. What is she doing now?
Well,
so
thank you.
Pac-12 network.
Yes.
Ooh, you have to come back and talk sports with us.
I'd love to.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.